Right, sir. Morning, everyone. So we are starting with the dialogue, the session today. So in the beginning, I would like to tell you all about TiE Chandigarh. TiE Chandigarh is basically the India's entrepreneurs, which was founded who wanted to promote and foster entrepreneurship with almost 3,000 charter members. So TiE works with the 5 pillars, that is networking, mentoring, education, investing, and incubating. Networking so that provide mentoring platforms such as like we conduct many events, many help the emerging startups and the entrepreneurs. Educate, they
Your
can
voice is
become
breaking
job
up, Sanjay.
givers instead. Right, sir. Is it clear now, sir?
Yes, for me it's okay. Yeah.
Investing as in who are like the
Sanjay,
startups.
your voice is breaking again and again.
Sir, I'll check, sir. Just so everyone, I'm really sorry. There's some network issue. So I think we start with the session of dialogue. So I would like to invite our Mr. Arjun Singh, who is a serial entrepreneur and founder member of founder partner of X. The business is into the real estate marketing, and licensing of the properties. So Arjun Singh sir, who is like the immense experience of 16 years and the real estate marketing. So Arjun sir, I would like to invite you for the session.
Thank you so much,
I guess
Sanjay.
request you to start the session, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sanjay, and welcome everybody. Good morning to all. I'm sure most of us over here are into marketing in one way or the other, irrespective of whether our business is real estate, which is the case with me, or IT or even manufacturing or anything. At the end of the day, basically, marketing is all about the end result that all of us are looking for is sales, or shall we call it lead generation. So what we'll do is, I want this to be an interactive session. We have a little presentation that we made, which we'll go through slide by slide. And what I'd request you all to do is, if you could, at the end of every slide, let's take questions. Let's keep it as interactive as we can. If you have any queries pertaining to that particular page, any points that we need to discuss, let's share ideas now, because the idea is not to have a one-way discussion about, only what my view of marketing is. It is, let's share points, and see what works for who, so that, everybody benefits from it. I'll just get the presentation started, and then we can take this forward. Is the presentation visible to everybody?
No, sir, not till now.
No, sir. Presentation is yes. Now
Yeah,
it is visible.
Fine.
Now it's visible. Okay, great. So as the title of what we, the subject that we're here to discuss, startup visibility in you. Now, whether it's a startup that's just getting started or a business that's mature to a certain degree, everybody needs visibility. At the end of the day, marketing is about visibility. That visibility is what creates your brand awareness. It is what generates leads for you. So how marketing or your visibility basically gets your revenue going. Now, in a nutshell, this is what we'll be discussing basically. So I'm not going to be using any other technical jargon, that typically, when I did my MBA, there are very highly complicated definitions of marketing that you can get. All of that is available on the net. That's not what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the practical aspects of it. What is the benefit of it? How, we can do it. What I personally found beneficial for me. My business, as Sanjay was mentioning, is corporate real estate. So we work with a lot of corporates, mostly Fortune 500 companies. So how we reach out to them, what we found beneficial. And we'd like to share that with you so that if it works for you, that's great. So we'll be covering these three main sections this time. One, of course, marketing, in case there's somebody who's never heard of it, which I doubt, but in case you haven't, 3 points that we're going to be covering is, what is the point of marketing? How do you reach out to your potential clients or people you want to touch base with? And how can you ensure conversion? Conversion as in, converting brand awareness or product awareness into a real deal or get revenue into your company. That's what we're going to be talking about. The first point, like I said, the point of it all. Why do you need marketing? Why does anybody need marketing? There are three main answers to that, as per what our experience has been. One, nobody owes you any business, so you got to draw attention to yourself. How to do it, we'll discuss up ahead. Draw attention to yourself, create brand awareness, create your company awareness of your company, show people that you exist. What are you bringing to the table? What are your services that you're offering them? That's what. So nobody's going to go searching for you and say, can you please take my business? I'd like to work with you. It has to be the other way around. So put yourself out there, reach out to people, tell the world that you exist. This is what you do, and seek an opportunity to do business. The second thing is, all clients. Now, let's say you reached out to people know about you. But the thing is, different clients will have different needs. Supposing you're in a software, let's say some kind of a business, a BPO business, for example, a client in the US may want to offshore his requirements, but he doesn't know, who is the right person, how India works, which market is better for me, what costing should I be looking at. So client has needs. You reach out to them once you've connected with them, tell them what all kind of options that you can bring them. That's all part of marketing. And the third point, like it says, the challenge, the solution, and the closure. So, the challenge is convincing the client that he needs you, what value you bring to him. Second is, once he agrees, okay, you bring value to me, but this is my problem, how do I do it? You give them multiple options or solutions, and then the conversion or the closure. So those are the three things that we discussed. And like the meme on the right suggests, lead generation, at the end of the day, marketing is all about lead generation. The rest is all gyan. Lead generation is what gives you, keeps your company running. That's what keeps your office running. That's what gets you revenue. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any points or anybody wants to talk about anything here till now. Or we can move on.
Yes, sir. We can move on.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know what we were talking about, the point of why do we need marketing basically. So now, the graphic that you see on the left is what we call the marketing funnel. Now, there are about four, like the funnel shows, there are about four major stages that you go through. One is awareness, of course. You have clients who may be out there. So supposing you just set up, I'll talk on my experience. When we just set up our own business back in 2014, obviously the first thing to do was whether we exist at all, nobody knows. I mean, there's a severe dearth of, say, professional real estate services in the Chandigarh Tri-City, for example. So, you have either the unorganized sector or you have nothing else. So the point was to get across to the market that, if you're a corporate, you're looking for office space solutions, where should you be? What are your requirements? What are your options? Should you go for furnished office space? Should you look at bare shell? I mean, that's in my business. It's of course different in every business. So, the first thing to make people aware was that we exist, that we now are in the market and we are open for business. So for that, how do we reach out to people? What am I offering? Are we in the residential business? Are we in the corporate leasing business? Are we doing institution sales? What are your requirements and what can we fulfill? So, from the client's viewpoint, I'm reaching out to people and they say, I don't know you, but how do you help me? What can I do with you? The second stage is the interest stage. Once you've reached out to them, told them this is the services that I provide, then, getting the client interested that, okay, maybe there are other people also who are providing me the same service. Why should I be coming to you and what do you bring to the table again? So for that, you may have certain USPs. Maybe you are providing a service or you do business in a way which nobody else in your market is. Or because you are a new startup, maybe there could be some kind of USP in terms of costs that you bring to the table, or that you have a tie-up with somebody else who is going to benefit. So, for example, if you're an IT company and you provide, let's say, a search engine optimization or brand visibility solutions is what you bring to the table. So, what all do you do which is different from what people are already doing in the market? So, if the client may be interested, he may want to work with you, but is there any benefit that you bring to him which is different from what the others already do? The third stage would be the decision of the client. Now, keep in mind that the marketing funnel basically talks about these four stages, which are client specific. So this is from the client's perspective. Now he's making the decision. He may have decided, okay, you're quite competitive in terms of the costing that is going to cost him, or you bring certain things to the table which maybe somebody else hasn't been offering so far, or whatever's the factor, and he's made a decision then. He makes the decision, you got to clinch it. Maybe your documentation has to be absolutely airtight, or maybe you have a good team in place which can follow up with them regularly, that kind of thing. And fourth stage is action. This is the conversion stage, basically. So decision is done from the client side. Now it's time for you to deliver. He's giving you the contract, or he's giving the solution. We have a 1-year contract. If you're in the IT space, that okay, we get you on a retainer with our company. You can do the search engine optimization for us, or the online presence, online marketing, or maybe I'm outsourcing business. I'm a client based out in the US. I'm outsourcing business to you, and we've signed a contract for a year. Now it's time for your action. So whatever you've committed in your documentation, on your delivery, etc. So that is the conversion bit. You got to make sure that your closure in terms of documentation is good, and thereafter, a lot of people think that marketing ends with the closure of the deal. That's not really true. Actually, the difference between a one-time client and a repeat client is what you do after the closure or the signing of the deal. We've done transactions. So, for example, to share an example with you, we've done Hyundai Motors is one of our, I'd say, an esteemed client of ours. So Hyundai Motors office in Chandigarh, Hyderabad, and Lucknow has been done by our company. And that has been, we've got testimonials from them. So that has been purely because of, every transaction, every industry, there are niggling issues that will come up after your closure also. It may be a one-time closure, but thereafter you've got to keep following up, handhold them. You may have got your money also, but you got to handhold. There will always be issues that keep cropping up. There is de-snagging and all that needs to be done subsequently. If you have a business approach where somebody says that, okay, my work is done, thank you so much, pleasure working with you, and thereafter I have no role to play, and if you have any issues, go to, in my business, the developer or the landlord, or in the IT business, maybe you can go to talk to the domain host or something if the problem is website hosting. If you do that, I mean, you're never going to get business from that company again. And also, word of mouth travels. That's important in any industry, IT, real estate, anything. So, that is not going to be good for you. So the post-sales follow-ups or continuing to handhold within limits, that is also equally important. We'll discuss these in detail further ahead in the next slide. Any points, any thoughts? Maybe some value, something that I missed out that you may want to add?
No, sir, everything is clear to me. Just wait.
Sorry?
I'm saying that everything
Very
is clear
clear
on
sir.
my side.
Very clear.
Okay, sure. Let's move on then. Now, as you can see from the graphic on the right-hand side, now marketing covers a lot of things. But don't worry, we're not going to discuss all of these in details. The idea is not to put you to sleep. The marketing covers a lot of things. You have online marketing, offline marketing. You've got everything from your product. What are you going to be selling, devising the product? You may have a team that is customizing products for different requirements. You have pricing. You have you have people who are looking at the publicity bit of your business. You may have a large team, but the nutshell, or how to put it in a few words, basically, most of us, if I'm not mistaken, most of us here are in the service industry. I mean, manufacturing maybe represented, but most of us, I'd say, are in the service industry. Now, one of the most important things that we've always imbibed and find useful, and I think it's true for the entire service industry, is the product is you. And by you, and this is especially for those who are starting out right now, because this is something we found very useful. The product is you. It's a very personal thing. Any service industry, whether you're a 1,000 crore company providing a service, or if it is you're just a new startup. When I say you are the product, I mean that when you're going out to pitch, whether it is you yourself as the promoter, or once your company is larger, you have a team or designated team heads who are going out to get business. Always remember that individual is representing the company. If you're the promoter, you're going out to get business. The client doesn't know your company from Adam, or he doesn't care whether you're XYZ or who you've done business with in the past. He is seeing you as the company. You don't have a product, or you're not selling. So, for example, if I'm selling a Maruti, I can harp about what are the benefits of the car and the fact the product features and all that. When you're in the service industry, what you're talking about is that when we will do this for you, and our after-sales service will be like this, and you have any hand-holding requirement during the product, the transaction life cycle, or after that, we will be there. Now, whether he goes ahead or not is to a large extent, I'd say about 60-70% of his decision making will be based on how he perceives you as an individual. Again, by you, I mean the promoter who is talking to him, pitching to him, or your team head, or the person who meets the company to talk to him to sell the service. How he perceives you will play a major role in whether he agrees to you or not. Of course, the kind of product you're offering, the pricing, the costing, and all that will also play a role. But whether he has confidence in what you're saying, your ability to deliver is what will be very important for him. When I say you are the product, I include everything from your body language, even things which people often discount, things like how you're dressing up, to your body language, to how you're talking to him, your domain knowledge, whether you are interested in what he's talking about, everything. So you are the product. So his confidence in even opening up his mind to listen to what you're saying will depend on how he perceives you. So that has to be a very important part. So That's why, when they say that if you're setting up and this I'm talking mainly for people who are starting up or are new startups, when you're setting up a team, it is very important when they talk about, communication skills or how you approach the client. That is absolutely critical. It is not surface glossing, or it is not a way to trick the client. It is very important, because whether he has confidence in you or not is what will open his mind to your product. That's how it works. The second important thing here is, if you're a startup, actually that's true of most companies now, but especially critical if you're a startup, go digital and fast, like it says here. So go digital, because when you're a startup, your costing, your budgets, obviously, understandably, are not going to be. I remember when we started, our budgets for reaching out to people are not going to be very large. I mean, so for example, in our business, most of the corporates that we deal with are headquartered either in the NCR or the Mumbai region. So obviously, when you're starting out, you cannot afford to travel very often, etc. You cannot go out and pitch to people that often, etc. Your budgets are tight, etc. So going digital, and in the IT industry also, I'm sure it works that way. I mean, going digital, you don't even know who all to reach out to. I mean, there could be people, there are companies, maybe you're based out of, say, DLF IT Park, and there may be a company 2 floors down below who has a requirement for a product that you are devising or a service that you can provide. But if you don't know and they don't know you exist, how do you connect with each other? So digital, of course, it's a no-brainer. It's an overkill thing, but having been repeated so many times doesn't take away the truth of the matter. Go digital fast. But go digital on stuff you don't really have to spend too much money. Go digital on platforms like, I mean, we'll discuss it in detail. Go digital on platforms like, you're doing maybe Google AdWords, you're doing search engine optimization, you're on social media, build brand awareness, tell the world, shout out to the world what all you're doing and all that. People will slowly, it'll be a trickle at first, it'll slowly reach out to you. Another important thing over here is, once you close the deal, tell the world about that as well. Testimonials, I cannot overemphasize the importance of testimonials. Once you've done something, if a client is happy with you, have no hesitation in asking for testimonials. We got testimonials from Fortune 500 companies like Samsung, Tata Motors, Indospace, etc. That builds your brand credibility, builds your market cred. So that next time when you're going in for a pitch with a new company, you tell them this is what we do. What I was saying about in the previous point, you are the product. When you go to you're making a new pitch and you tell them this is what we are, this is how we do work. Here are some of the companies who have been happy to work with us. That all builds to you. Put that out in the digital world. Reach out to people who you are not directly physically you can't reach out to. So that's a critical thing, cannot be overemphasized. The third important thing over here, again related to marketing. A lot of people think adapting really doesn't have anything to do with marketing. It does. Every industry changes rapidly these days, because best practices can be shared across borders, across industries, etc. You have trends that are, in the IT industry, you have trends about social marketing, which are changing practically every month on month, things are changing. Upgrade your armory. These are all weapons that you need. So keep abreast with industry changes, follow blogs, TiE itself is a good platform for that, because what new things are happening. Of course, COVID hasn't let us interact physically for the last 1 year, but I mean, otherwise, platforms like TiE, CI, etc., enable you to interact, share best practices, understand who's doing what is changing, what are the new trends. So keep abreast of that, so that when you're going in for market, when you're talking to a new client, you're making a new page, or you're looking at devising a new product for your service product for your clients, what is the incoming wave. So you can, talk about that. So, about that. Upgrade your skill set, upgrade your team structure, etc., so that you can capture these what used to be called the sunrise segments of your own industry. That again is a very important part. Anything that we can discuss here at this stage?
No, sir. Everything is clear to me.
Right.
Anyone having any questions?
No, I guess not. We'll move on to the next. Now, the third section of what we talked about in terms of the third part of what marketing is. So, that is the reaching out part. In the previous section, we were talking about how it's very important, especially for startups or for all companies now, to be digital. Now, it's not just digital, of course, which is the only way to reach out. You always have print ads, etc. as well. But for the purpose of this discussion, since it's we have mainly IT colleagues and friends over here, so we'll focus more on the digital bit of reaching out. So this graphic makes it. I think it's fairly clear. There are lots of opportunities or lots of via media, if we may call it that, to reach out to the market to make your potential clients aware what you can do and what you reach out to the potential clients, basically lead generation. So we won't discuss each of them in detail, but some of the important ones I'll just touch on briefly. You have, of course, social media that we will discuss in detail up ahead. You have you've got everything from let's say local search marketing. You may be providing a service. If the world is not aware of it, like I said, you have AdWords, you have local search marketing available for that. You can make videos of your product. You have Google Analytics to help you who's doing what. Data mining, of course, is something that needs no introduction. Artificial intelligence and data mining, these are the two major sectors, or shall we say, via media, which are going to be tools which are going to be used for digital marketing increasingly over the next coming decades. So, for example, data mining in any case is at use at work already. When you have, let's say, Google Analytics at work, you have, for example, you put up your website, you are promoting it online so that you can get more and more people visiting your sites. The more traffic you drive, the higher your ranking in Google searches is. Because of that, then it becomes more visible, so more people can reach out to you. So to get your site to get more traffic, you need to do a lot of promotions so that you can improve your rankings, etc. So all that is working on data analytics. You've got stuff like artificial intelligence, which will crawl data continuously. It'll help you. You have keywords which you can use, which can help you reach out to the right people. So this is. That's why the second point in the previous slide, what I was saying, go digital and fast. This is why. Now we'll discuss this in greater detail. We'll touch on one major part of it, which I think a lot of us are doing, but how to structure it and how to, do it in an efficient manner is what we'll touch upon. Now, online, we'll just touch on four major basic points. Like I said, online marketing, it cannot be overemphasized. The first point, like I mentioned, social media. Social media, let me put it this way. This is what is the Shopfront brand. Now, in the old days, when you set up shop, irrespective of what you were selling, whether you were selling daily household goods, or if you were an FMCG company, or you were an IT company, a giant like a TCS or a startup, basically your Shopfront used to be a physical thing, right? You have large branding, hoardings, etc. So, for example, all of us have been to Elante. You've seen that, or you have. I'll give you an example from Gurgaon. I have the numbers for that. If you've all been to DLF Cyber City, now Cyber City, you may have seen that you have KPMG's branding on the buildings where they are, or you have everybody from IndusInd Bank on a metro station advertising there. That branding, that little branding up front. So, for example, KPMG on top of a building in DLF Cyber City they are paying to the tune of about 4 to 5 lakhs a month for that. For IndusInd to have their branding on DLF Rapid Metro, which is visible from the highway, it costs them to the tune of about 12 to 15 lakhs on a monthly basis. Now, that is a large example of Shopfront branding. So they're not getting anything else. That's just branding. So now when you're online, you are able to get that Shopfront branding for a much lower cost. So whether you have, depending on what service you're selling, whether you are on Facebook, you're building a profile on Facebook or Insta, or if you're on LinkedIn, etc. The Shopfront brand is you're showing the world that this is what we do. This is who we are. These are our contact details. Come touch base with us. Now, social media, the four major platforms that I just mentioned: LinkedIn, for business, it's mainly LinkedIn. You got Facebook, depending on what kind of service. If you're an e-marketing thing, e-commerce site or something, I mean, Facebook and Instagram cannot be overemphasized. I mean, the more you spend on it, it's it's whether you're spending. I mean, of course, the experts over here will be able to testify to that. But whether you're spending 500 a day, 1,000 rupees a day, or whatever you're spending, it's all money worth well spent, because that is what is building your client base. You have that sponsored content, which some of us may, to be honest, may find it irritating. But for those who are looking for that product but don't know where to go, you see that sponsor thing, you open it, and then you say, okay, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and that converts into sale. Then whether you're spending 30,000 a month or or more, if you're doing, depending on what price point your products are, if you're getting 3-4 conversions out of that, and your product is I don't know 40,000-50,000 worth, you're getting good conversion out of that. That is well worth the money that you're spending. So you don't need a physical shop front. You don't need physical branding. This is serving your purpose and at a lesser cost. So this is one. So building your brand awareness, and if depending on your industry, it even gives you business direct lead conversion. The challenge over here on the other side. So I'll tell you about the pros and cons of both, which maybe known to a lot of you already. Maybe the other challenge over here is the conversion challenge, depending on the industry you're in. So, for example, in my industry, conversion, so for example, if I'm talking about office space in Mohali, so I can use social media to spread awareness about the brand or the product that you're offering. It may or may not exactly relate to conversion. It's not something that people can click on and buy right off the website. So, like I say, it depends on what your industry, what your product is. So it may be conversion. There may be conversion challenges, but then it may be you'll have to find a balance between creating brand awareness and your conversion challenges. So that's how it is. So social media, I think it's a no-brainer. Everybody knows that's one of the major tools you use to reach out online. The second thing, of course, is search engine optimization, whereby I guess a lot of people already know of it. Whereby you have certain keywords, etc., where if somebody is searching for you on Google or whichever search engine you're using, you have certain keywords if they're looking for your product. So, for example, if somebody is looking for an e-commerce website selling computer parts, for example, in Chandigarh, so you do that. You have search engine optimization. Your visibility, your website already has a lot of footfall, if you can call it that, or has high visibility. You keep your ranking improves and you become highly visible, and you're visible in the first one page or maybe the first 2 pages, which in turn will generate more traffic to your website, more people reaching out or giving you calls or buying your product. So search engine optimization is, depending on your industry, again a very important tool. So to go back to the search engine optimization thing, the negative bit of this is it is also a factor of how much you are able to spend, of course, and secondly, how large your team is. You could be in a situation where you spend a lot on search engine optimization. Maybe you've got a good ranking, or you've got a good rating or ranking on the website. So now you're getting a lot of traffic. But unfortunately, you may or may not have. You may be constrained by the space you're in or by your budget of your startup, and you have a small, limited team. And your leads may be getting generated, but you're unable to convert them because you're unable to reach out to everybody. What is called leads overload. So now that then has a cyclical negative effect, because then you're reaching out to lots of people, you're getting queries, but you're not able to reach out or convert, connect with all of them, which will lead to people thinking that your advertising or your visibility is high, but you're not really good as a service provider. So that itself may spread negative word of mouth, and so that will lead to a problem. So it has to be again balanced, whether you have a team which can service so if you're going to get a lot of leads, can you service all of that, or are you spending too much on lead generation and getting leads but unable to convert? So then is it worthwhile spending that much? So you got to find the right balance over there as well. Now coming to the next point is emailing. Emailing, of course, is one of the oldest online channels which has been used to reach out to people. It works well. One of the advantages, of course, are that you can have customized targeting. instead of, you can specify, like, for example, if you're looking at in my business, if you're looking at, say, the admin heads of companies to reach out to, so that you can tell them that, okay, this is the service we provide. If you're looking in these cities, we can help you there. So it helps me customize. I don't have to send it out blind like in social media. It's visible to everybody. It could be visible to a 16-year-old who is of no use to me business-wise, and it is visible to maybe a retired person also who, again, business-wise can't really be of help to me. With emailing, one, it's a more customized kind of a target outreach. You are reaching, since it's within your control who it should go out to. You can either buy a database, which may or may not be idle, or you know that these people are existing. They are the right people for my business to be reaching out to. If you're in the IT business, you may want to reach out to the PD head or different people. It's a customized target, so it may help. It may or may not get you conversion, but if you're sending it out to, say, 100 people, you're shooting out mails to 100 people and you're getting queries from, say, 10, and 1 or 2 of those convert, there is no cost that you've incurred, and it converts into business. So that's good. The negative bit of emailing, which is also very true, is that a lot of people now perceive it as invasive. It can be irritating, especially if they don't know you from before, and they see, okay, why did this guy keep sending me mails, and I don't want him, and I may as well block him and all that. Then even if tomorrow they do really have a requirement, and they've seen what you do, but they don't want to reach out to you because they formed a negative impression of you already because of that pushiness. So I mean, it's a mixed bag. It does have its advantages and disadvantages. The fourth thing that you can use online, of course, is blogging. Again, very important. Blogging is, of course, I mean, the word is self-explanatory. You create a blog, you write about the topic that you're good at, the service that you're providing, if you're providing an e-commerce website or whatever you're doing, your businesses, and you're talking about that subject, or that these sites can provide this, but whatever is related to your new product mix or whatever, or keeping up with industry trends, etc. So that's a good way to keep your search engine visibility high, in terms of when somebody's looking, you link your blog with your website. So it drives traffic to your website. That goes ties in with the visibility of your website. It gets high footfall, if you want to call it that. And so your ranking improves and therefore becomes more visible, you get more business. Also, it creates you as a sort of a perception of an industry leader, if you may call it that, or somebody who's well aware of the trends and developments of the industry, etc., which creates a positive, like I said, in the service industry, you are a product, but creates a positive impression about you as a service provider. So next, when there is a requirement from a potential client, he feels no hesitation in reaching out to you because he already has a bit of confidence in you, having read your blogs, if he's an avid reader of your blog. The challenge over here is you have to be consistent with your content creation. You have to update on a regular basis. You have to be, you have to have relevant material. You have to keep weekly or bi-weekly, or whatever is your periodicity. You have to update on a regular basis, because otherwise what happens is your initial blog happens, and when people search for it, they see the last post or maybe a year ago or so. They're not sure whether he's still in the industry. Maybe the business isn't doing well, so they quit it. So I don't know whether it'll be worthwhile to reach out, even if I do have a relevant business. I may or may not want to reach out. And secondly, if you're blogging as your business grows, you personally may or may not be able to devote time to it on a regular basis. So you need to have a team, maybe, or dedicated resource for updating blogging on a quality blogs on a regular basis. So depending on, you'll have to balance whether or not you can do regular content creation vis-a-vis having a dedicated resource or a team for it, etc. So those are some of the pros and cons of it. Any thoughts on this? I'm happy to share, discuss.
No, sir, everything is clear to me.
Sure. So this is just, social media. I mean, like I said, you cannot overemphasize what is the importance of it. Like it says over here, how else can you reach out to millions of customers daily? I mean, no other, never in the past. I mean, in my MBA days, Philip Kotler, one of the gurus of MBA, back when we were doing our MBA, you know, the 4 Ps that you talked about: product, price, placement, promotion. The promotion bit, never in the history of mankind has there been a tool that can be used to reach out to so many people. You know, it's possible, newspapers or magazine ads and all, nothing gives you the kind of reach that social media can. You can potentially reach a client sitting in the UK, you can reach anybody in South America sitting in Delhi. I mean, the possibilities are limitless, limited only by your wallet size, of course. But how else do you reach 1 million customers? So it's, like I said, you can't overemphasize the purpose or the use of social media. The third and the last section that, you know, what we talked about, like I said, all of this, the end result, the purpose of marketing, you know, I mean, marketing का जीवन व्यर्थ है अगर lead generation नहीं होती उसमें से. That's the point. So conversion or lead generation or conversion into real deals or revenue. So, you know, one of the core, I would say, the core of conversion is persistence, stubbornness, whatever you want to call it. We have had, I mean, I can give my personal examples. We've pursued clients for up to 2 years. So, for example, I remember the Samsung electronics office, which is in Elante over here, the regional office. We followed up with them for about 2.5 years. You know, when the requirement started, then dropped, then started, and finally they took 13,000 square feet in space in Elante. 2.5 years we followed up with them, and then we did the deal. Again, for you know, there are multiple clients. So persistence for sales, which again part of the overall umbrella of marketing. Persistence cannot be persistence has to be tempered by not becoming a pest or being irritating. Also, you've got to do it in a professional manner, space it out, and you know, stay aware, have market intelligence whether or not that company or your client, potential client, is even looking for the service that you provide anymore. Keeping that in mind, you know, there's no point if they've dropped a requirement. They were looking for, let's say, a company was in the US, was looking to offshore their business here, and you were in touch with them that we can do it for you and we can set up a center for you, a captive center or otherwise. And they may have dropped the requirement, but you keep pursuing, you know, pestering them every week on a weekly basis with calls, mails, etc. I mean, that will probably lead to just blocking you, not give you any business in the future either. I mean, you go to persistence in the business tempered with market intelligence, I'd say, whether there is a real requirement and or who is the decision maker, those kind of things. So I'd say the core of conversions is persistence. Once you know the company has a requirement, you provide that service that they need, then, you know, pull out the stops, use whatever means needed, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed, whatever needs to be done, follow it up and do it. That is the core of this. A strong influence in conversion, again, I would say that's what we've personally found is strong documentation. A lot of time you may have challenges about, I mean, it's industry specific, whether or not, you know, obviously in every business you have competitors offering the same thing. Document everything. You've shared details. You may have shared a good proposal. You may have been the first one in the proposal. You may have got a good deal, but you may have, in the closure of your deal, your documentation may have been weak. You didn't factor in what kind of, shall we say, you didn't factor in some kind of eventualities that could have arisen and what can be done. So you may suffer a loss or revenue loss because of that. So strong documentation to start with. We have some very eminent legal firms, lawyers over here also as part of TiE. Use people, at least in the initial stages, if you're a startup, make sure your documentation is very good right from the beginning. I mean, there's no, I mean, obviously nothing teaches you like personal experience, but it's better not to jump into a well to learn what happens with it, you know, learn from other people's experiences. Be strong on documentation, use lawyers where needed, get your templates in place, make sure you've covered all eventualities that come. It may not be possible in the first 1 or 2 times, but if there are 10 things that can go wrong, it's better that you catered for 9 things rather than 5 things, you know. So be strong on your documentation to start with. This is especially true for people who are starting out. I have started out recently. Third thing is, like I was saying in the beginning, testimonials. I mean, a lot of, you know, businesses, once closures are done, have no hesitation in taking testimonials if your client is happy. Obviously, you can't ask for testimonials from people where you had problems with delivery. But if you have a client who you feel has been happy, they've said it's been a pleasure working with you and all that, tell them to put it in writing. In the sense, take it in a letterhead, take a testimonial, something that can be put up on your website with their permission, something that you may want to share, on social media that recently closed this, and this is the testimonial that we got from this client. How it adds is it's a force multiplier. You business that you've done, you show it to clients. Like I said, you're making a new pitch, you have to a client who may or may not be sure of, he feels you may be able to deliver it, but he's not sure what your background working with other companies has been. If you say, okay, here we've spoken to this company, a turnover of 2,000 crores, we've done business with them, they were happy with us, here's a testimonial. That adds value. I mean, make it part of your deck, the pitching deck if you have one. So that helps. So testimonials, very important. The last point that I have over here is post-conversion follow-ups. If you've got a business, you've closed, if it's a one-time business or if it's a running thing like a contract for a year to provide a business, or it was for creating a website and maybe doing search engine optimization for a fixed period, it's ended. Thereafter, proactively, I mean, even after you've got your full fee, etc., proactively, time to time, reach out to your client. Ask them, is there any problem in what we've done, what the service we provided, anything can help you with, anything that's going wrong? I mean, even if there is no cost to it, there is within limit. I mean, I'm not saying do a gigantic service being provided free of cost, but within limits, do something free of cost. That builds relationships. Follow-on business will come your way. It improves your market credibility. Street cred improves. People have word of mouth will spread that this is a good company to do work with. That's all very helpful. So post-conversion follow-up, very important. So, to sum up, conversions are all about persistence. Strong documentation, very essential, especially if a new company don't have templates set in place. Do that as soon as you can. Once you've closed a transaction or your a service has been provided, you got your fee. If the client is happy, take a testimonial. Don't be shy to ask for one. And once you've closed a deal, do follow-ups. I mean, throw in a few freebies if needed. Follow up for business. That'll give you more business in the future. That's it from me. Happy hunting. I'm open to questions. Happy to answer.
Everything is clear to me, sir. Quite learned from you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Evan.
Anyone having any questions?
Either I was pretty clear, everybody's understood one, or I don't know, maybe it was wrong.
Actually, there is internet issue also in some places. So many links are getting stopped.
Sure.
So I guess no one is having any questions today. So thanks, Arjun sir, for giving your precious time and such a great knowledge. And
pleasure, Evan.
Thank you. And thanks to Team TiE to arranging such a great event for WorkYard Shuruaat.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. So thank you, Arjun sir. I think my network is like bit.
No, a pleasure.
So it was a very great session. So I've heard all the points, sir. So for our startup, I think marketing is very necessary.
True. Can't be overemphasized actually.
Right, sir. So I'm really sorry that from my end the internet was not good. And thank you very much, sir. Thank you, team WorkYard, Mr. Hemanji, for giving such an opportunity to organize a session with you.
No, sir, it's your thanks to you for giving the time. Yes,
thank you so much, Evan. Pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you everyone for
Thank
attending.
You, thank you, the teams.
Thank you. Okay, sir.